Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series premiere of Clevatess. Great series premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. I was not expecting this episode to be as long as it is, too. It's like 40-some minutes. I was like, Jesus, that was great. I was like, am I tripping? It's like, no, that's the runtime in this episode. I kind of wish I went into this not knowing. Like, I didn't know everything going into this, but I knew the twist about Alicia being killed and resurrected. I knew that, but like the other details, Clevatess' situation and Luna, none of that I knew. But like, I still, like I said, I wish I didn't even know about the Alicia thing, because like, I like a story that will drop you in and make you think the story is one thing, and then you get a rude awakening of, nah, that's not what this story is. Because initially you're looking at like, oh, Alicia's going to be the hero of the story, because from a young age we're following her and her dad talking about, they live in, how you pronounce it, Edia, the continent, but like a large chunk of the outer reaches of the continent are dark because they don't know what's beyond that. Like the 5 humanoid races have no idea what exists beyond their borders, because those portions of the continent are ruled by the dark beast, and it's like no one's been able to explore beyond that. Anyone that's gone there has been brutally murdered and hasn't come back to tell the tale. Well, you never know. There might be people who've gone there and just, I would assume, considering how dark it is, that no one's ever come back, but maybe there are people who have. Whatever the case may be, Alicia has a dream that she wants to see what's out there, to be the one that kind of helps, eventually spread out the map so that the world can see more, the world. And so we cut to all these years later. I don't think they specified how long. Alicia's older. She's wielding a weapon made by the king of Haydn. Basically, he forges special weapons for her as well as the other 12 fighters. They're warriors, all from different places around the continent, from different races and from different locations, all for the sole purpose of going after one of the particular dark beasts. I don't know if their plan was to eventually go after the other 3, or were you just going to pierce one location and just keep going in that direction, or would you eventually going back and wipe out the others? Probably that, but because this is all based on a legend, and this is what Alicia heard at a young age, that a warrior will be given a weapon by the king, and they'll be able to kind of eventually like kill the dark beast and be the hero. And so our heroes go in and they're slicing and dicing their way through some of the beast here. I don't know how to put it into words to describe it. The animation seems so unique in regards of like it's modern, but it feels like it has this like almost, I don't think filter's the right word, but it's like it's got this like texture to it that feels like something from like an 80s or 90s anime. Like I said, I feel stupid because I'm like, I can't put it into words, but there's something about it that just feels like old school animation. Like, I don't know if it's just like the lighting, like I said, the texture of the animation. I don't know what it is. It looks newish in some regards, but then it has that old school flavor to it. It's I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how to put it into words. It's interesting. But yeah, they're slashing their way through. Each person, different people have different weapons. There's a couple swords. There's like a spear / lance. There's a hammer. I think there's an axe as well. And they make their way through, showcasing their powers. And you're just like, oh man, God, these warriors are so cool. And they get to Clevatess. Once he's introduced, I was like, oh, because I've seen pictures of him, Luna, and Alicia. So I was like, I just thought what he looked like as Clevatess, like as Clen. I thought that's just what he looked like. I was like, oh, that's your real form. You're like a full giant beast. And then immediately, like, the leader of it Stefan was kind of like leading the charge, like, yeah, we'll do it. And then immediately gets murked. I was like, that's the moment where I was like, shit, I wish I didn't know. Because I was like, well, I know Alicia dies because she gets resurrected, so I'm assuming the rest of you get slaughtered, but it's supposed to be this heroic moment. And like I said, I love stuff like that, because if this was any other story, this would be like, yeah, the heroic charge. I mean, I'm watching other stuff right now, like New Saga, kind of spoilers for New Saga, but basically it's like a time travel story of, hey, you went up against the big bad monster, you kind of won, but then things played out and time rewound, and now you have a second chance to kind of make things right, but you're the hero of the story. So it kind of has a little bit of that flavor, but now it's like, no, there's no undoing this. You're all straight up murdered. And then one by one, he starts killing all of them because they can't even get close to him because he controls the shadows. So like they're trying to get the higher ground to like, well, Alicia's the one that's like, get the higher ground, just like jump, like get away from your shadow. But that doesn't stop any, like you can't deal with this. And the entire time Clevatess is like, oh, interesting. That if like, it seems like he hasn't had a run-in with the humanoids in like 1,000 years. And now it's like, I guess that's the last time they bothered him. But now he's like, why are you here now? And they're attacking with these weapons. Alicia's the only one that managed to severely do some damage. Like, obviously, one attack, like, clashed with Clevatess, but he ended up still killing the guy. But, like, she's the one that managed to do at least some damage. She damaged his horn, and even when he's cleansed later on, you can still see the damage to his horn, that his horn was partially severed. It's probably, like, maybe 50% depth of, like, the depth of the slash is, like, probably 50%, maybe less. I don't even know if Alicia's really taken notice of that. She did. I mean, to be fair, she immediately gets bodied afterwards, gets the scar across her left eye, gets slashed up. Her left leg gets cut off. Yeah. And so Clevatess is like, okay, so this is what happened. They said that they're the heroes, that the king of Hyden sent them. Okay, let me go check this out. And he proceeds to demolish Hyden, because for him it's like, you guys attacked me first. I was just doing my own, like, why did you invade my territory? Like, because that's the thing, like, I get, it seems like I guess the dark beasts keep to their realms. It's like, we're not here to wipe you out, but I'm here to wipe you out now because you bothered me. Because for him, he's like, I need to nip them in the bud, because if I leave, like, in this amount of time, they've somehow managed to create weapons that can hurt me. It's like, they might be weak and pathetic, but they have the means to make weapons that could be a nuisance in the future. So I need to understand why they did what they did. Like, why did you come invading my territory? And so the king of Hyden's like, oh, I gotta hide the forge. I can't let it fall into anyone's hands, because the forge is the only means to make those special weapons needed to hurt the dark beast. In fact, the king's lineage are the only ones who actually know how to do the smithing to make these weapons. So ultimately, Clevatess like tracks him down, because he seals away the forge, and I was like, because I thought you were going to like legitimately destroy it, but it's like, it's too valuable to destroy. So I guess you close the door, and I'm assuming it's like, it recognizes like royal blood, so you would need to be of the royal blood lineage to open that. I'd assume you'd also have to be alive. I don't think you'd be able to just take the king's corpse and just open that door. I don't think it'd work like that, but who knows? Either way, the king is there, and Clevatess is like, okay, you're going to answer my questions. And depending on how you answer will determine whether or not only that if I kill you or not, also whether or not I kill all of humanoids, all of humankind. Because you, like, if you can't, like, in this moment, the king kind of speaks for humankind unintentionally, but it's like, why did you invade? And the king's final words are, a beast like you can never understand, and whack, decapitated. And it's like, okay, that's that. After he'd already destroyed the entire kingdom, it's like, we didn't really get to know anyone there or know anything there, but as he's leaving, he hears a baby crying, and a woman reaches out to him, is like, please take this baby. It's like, she must not be able to see what I am. He's like, I'm Clevatess, like, I'm the dark, but she's like, I don't care, just take this baby. Like, a baby should, because for him, it's like, you guys attacked me, like, I'm fine with, like, man, woman, or child, like, you're all dead to me, you mean nothing to me, because I'm not going to have some soft spot for any of you. But for her, it's like, a child shouldn't be punished about where and how it's born. You know, it's like, basically, what will eventually come Luna is, this child is meant to be, hey, I'm going to take this child and once it becomes a human, it will be the one to prove itself, to be like, you are going to be the example that, it's interesting that the king was supposed to be the example of, all right, you're going to be the determining factor whether or not I wipe out the rest of the humanoids. But now it's like, well, now it's up to this child. I'm going to see through you. You are going to be kind of the ambassador for humankind. You will be the one to determine whether or not they deserve to be destroyed or not. There's a little bit of a parallel to another series. It's originally a video game, but it did get an anime adaptation. It might have gotten other adaptations too, like a manga or something like that. I definitely know the anime because I watched it many years ago. It's called Sands of Destruction. Basically, you follow like, oh god, what's her name? Was it Meryl? Was that her name? The one of the main characters. I want to say the other main characters, was it Kyrie? But basically, he gets associated with a woman who decides she basically wants to destroy the world, and it's kind of about a journey on that journey. I don't know, like without going into it too deeply. Once again, it's been a while, so I'm definitely forgetting details. Well, especially without going into spoilers, because I remember what Kyrie's circumstances end up being. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I know, like, there's a twist to what his situation is and his role and everything, but like I said, no spoilers for anyone that's never played the game or watched the anime, but there's certain parallels to that I'm kind of deriving into this as well, so that's all. But it's interesting because initially I was like, is that child, like, I did kind of notice, like, the different colored hair, and I was like, well, that's probably not the mother of that child, but I was like, maybe it is. I don't know, because like she also wasn't talking like a mother. She was talking like the child's not hers. And jumping ahead a little bit, the fact is Luna looks the way she does. Well, he does, because I think Luna's a he. But the Luna looking the way he does and the mother looking the way they did, I was like, oh, we find out like that's not the baby's mother. That was one of the attendees. Kind of basically, I guess maybe it was kind of a wet nurse, ironically enough, because later on Clint's looking for a wet nurse, but probably just like one of the nannies or attendants to to Luna. Well, not unless that actually is the mother, because there's that guy later on that was like the crown princess. And I was like, I don't know if that's in reference to her or if that's someone else he was referencing when he was like the crown princess. His plan was to basically take her son. So I'm like, I'd assume she's dead, but I'm like, that could have been the crown princess. But it's just interesting that she looks like that. Not unless she took more after her mother than her father, if her father was in fact the king. Like I said, my takeaway from that is like the revelation of who Luna really is. I was like, oh, that must not have been her mother. That must have been like an attendee, but it's like might have actually been her mother. I don't know. But either way, not really quite sure why, but Clint, like, he's not even sure himself why he did it, but he ends up taking the child and is protecting her from other beasts in the territory. And obviously she's whiny. He's able to restore her energy, but he doesn't have the means to feed her. He throws her in a pit of bugs. These beetles or whatever eat the excrement off of her, but that's all he can really do. So he's like, I need to feed the child. Well, amongst the warriors that were here, because at first I was like, why Alicia out of anyone you could have resurrected? And I'm sure like probably her body's probably in the best condition because everyone else was literally sliced to pieces. Well, not everyone. Some people were just crushed. But I mean, you literally reattached her severed leg, so. But it's because he needed a woman. He was like, yo, show me your breast. She's like, what? He's like, show me your breast. And he forces her to show her. And he's like, wait. You don't have any milk? She's like, I'm a virgin. He's like, wait, virgins don't have breast milk? It's like, no, only like the mother who's had the child has the breast milk. I was like, oh, well then you're useless now. It's like, because my question too was like, she's a walking corpse, and even she kind of has this question later on, is she actually immortal? Because he ended up saying like, as long as like that energy he has flowing into her flows into her, she won't ever die. Or maybe she can die, but like she'll always like resurrect. Maybe that's how it is. So she's kind of like immortal to some extent. Like she can die, but she'll always come back type of thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see like what the extensive nature of her new corpse reality really is. But obviously she can't really do much because, for one, she doesn't even have her weapons because it's like, oh yeah, like your colleagues and your weapons, I tossed them all down there. And she's surrounded by all the materials that are used to make but it's like, well, it's kind of useless if I can't refine it into an actual weapon for me to use. So it's like, that's kind of a moot point. So I can't do anything. Plus she's like, well, there was 13 of us and we couldn't do anything. Like, it literally took all those sacrifices and death for you to get one attack directly in. But once again, I still don't think she recognizes how much damage she actually did. I'm actually curious, is that why Clint like, is it just he doesn't notice that he still has a horn out, or is the horn so damaged he can't ever make it completely go away? Because they're planning to say, hey, we're gonna go look for a wet nurse because initially Alicia's like, oh, we'll go find the wet nurse, that way I'll take the baby with me. But like Clint's like, no, I can't take the chance the baby's gonna die away from me. Like, this baby needs to survive. I need to have it grow into adulthood. He also didn't realize the lifespan of humans in regards. He knows like it's a blink and they're gone in comparison to himself. But then there's also the element of like, right, it takes a while. He's like, this is only the first night, and I halfway expected this baby to be a full grown adult in a couple nights. It's like, that's not how it works. So it's got to stick around for a while, not just a while, a couple years, and that can be very. I think when you're just living your existence in your own solitude, but then when you're going to be surrounded by so many people, specifically Alicia and Luna, and be kind of interacting with humankind, that time is probably going to go by even slower. It's going to be even more draining, kind of living life as a humanoid versus just living as a dark beast. Clint was told by Alicia, like, yo, you can't go out and about. People are going to panic if they see you in your beast form, so, you're not going to be able to track down a wet nurse. So he's like, cool, I get that. And he takes on a humanoid form. And it's like, yeah, I can control shadows. And he decided to take on a form of kind of almost like a male version of the person he met, who was kind of like the parental figure for that child, for Luna. And gives himself the name of Clint, gives Luna, their name is Luna, and it's like, we're going to be on our way. But also, like, he forgot to put away the rest of his tails until Alicia pointed it out. But that's why I was like, I don't know if the horn, because even she's like, is he not putting the horn away because he doesn't realize it? Because there are at least one species of the humanoids that has horns. I didn't really get into that. There's 5 species essentially. There's the Hedons, which I'm like, I don't know what you like. They're the closest to humans as well, but it's like, I don't know what you'd consider them, like, especially with their nose. Like, I don't know if they're supposed to almost be like lion people, or like with that nose the way it is. Like, I don't know what you call them, because you have, was it the Duns or the Dunes? They look the most humanoid. I'm assuming that's the species like Alicia comes from, but basically, and they're split up amongst 2 people too. Like, there's like 2 different places that they reign. Then there's, was it the Orgites? I'm gonna butcher these names. I saw them once, so do forgive me. Or essentially the ogres. Then there's like there's like the mer people, and then finally there's another group. They're kind of considered like barbarians. So each group is kind of good with like certain qualities and aspects that are unique to them in the regards of, like, for example, like the Hedons are like very good at like smithing and stuff like that. So versus some others being good at hunting and so on and so forth. Like different humankind beings have like different qualities to their respective places. So I didn't mean places, I meant species. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a brain fart here, so I do apologize. But now they're venturing out, and Alicia kind of has no choice but to comply. He has complete and utter control over her. She's washing the baby, and he's over top of her, micromanaging her, being like, well, you're doing this wrong. You're going too hard. Now you're going too gentle. And it's like, wow, the Beatles did a much better job at cleaning up this baby. Yeah, take this blanket that's kind of covered in shit or whatever and just go wash yourself off. And then she points out the whole Luna being of royal lineage, and Clint brings up like what happened. It's like, oh yeah, I destroyed the kingdom, killed the king, and it's like, wait, you did that? It's like, yes. And so she's the one that kind of gave too much information, and now Clint's like, oh, if this baby's a royal, then all I have to do is put this baby on the throne, and then I'll be its advisor. And he's like, oh, I'll be kind of able to run things from the shadows, how interesting and fun that'll be. He's like, oh, I'll even put some of my servants, like, in powerful positions. And she's like, I made a bad situation even worse, because I basically helped like, he wasn't coming into this with a plan. It's like, yo, I'm just looking for a wet nurse for this baby, but now you're kind of giving me an extra goal in mind, a prolonged evil goal in a sense. So, and then the episode eventually has Alicia and Clint attacked by bandits, and initially she's like, they're so dead, and then they knock out Clint and he's bleeding from his head. Either like, my initial thought is, well, he's in his humanoid form, so he's playing like, oh, I'm not going to display my power, or either by hiding the rest of his body, he's limited himself just to, like I said, appear human, and maybe because of that, I'm assuming this all supposed to serve a purpose of, oh yeah, like this is an easy thing. Like let me just subjugate, like let me just play into this, and they'll take us somewhere where it'll be easier to track down a wet nurse. We kind of won't have to transport ourselves. We've been captured, so it's like, yeah, let's lean into it, and it's a new experience for him. So he's getting to experience all this stuff, so he's having a little fun with it. So yeah, they are captured, and I'm curious to find out next episode what is Clint's reasoning for that. Whether it is simply all the things I mentioned, or was there something else at play here? Also, going back to the kingdom of Hedon, one person arrives. I don't know if that's like the princess's lover. Like I don't know if that's like, I'm so stupid. I'm here thinking like the crown princess, like, because I'm treating it like the king was the dad, but it's like, no, that's most likely his grandchild. Luna's his grandchild probably, because the crown princess. It's like, yeah, the crown princess and her son. So it's like, yeah, that would be mean like the king would be her dad. So it's like, well, because even the guy that's there, like this, I don't know if that's like the baby's daddy or like her lover, whatever the case may be. But it might be a situation of, okay, so why did the king do what he did? It's like he kind of rushed all of this. It's like, did he go mad? Why was he so inherent on trying to make the legend come true? Like, why now? And now because of that, the kingdom's fallen, and now other tribes, I think specifically the two groups of Dune, the more human-ish looking humanoid people, are basically going to try and take control of, because they want to get the forge and they want to try and find the means so that they can replicate the smithing necessary to make those weapons. So that's going to be kind of where they go. This is the main kingdom of Hedon, but I don't know if like there's probably other Hedon cities there, but that was like the main royal city. But I don't think that's all the Hedons killed. I think there's still others scattered around, but that's like the main hub city. I don't know if there's like other towns and cities, or are they just scattered around in different territories and places around the continent. Oh yeah, and there's also an element of the episode I completely forgot to talk about, and that is we get a little glimpse of seeing what happened to Alicia's father. He was killed by someone. We don't really get to make out who it is. It's kind of a silhouetted figure, but I wonder, does it have any correlation to do with the dark beast, or is it something else entirely? I'm curious. It could have just as easily been like humankind greed in regards of like her father had something and they wanted to take something from him, because it seems like he was an adventurer or a warrior at some point in time, but I think probably upon losing his leg, ironically enough, I didn't even think about it at the time, he has a peg leg. It's the same leg that Alicia ended up losing, so there's some kind of, I don't know, poeticness or symmetry would be the right word, but there's a correlation there that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in at the end because I completely forgot to talk about that. I don't know. We'll ultimately have to wait to see where the next episode takes us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.